Welcome to another deep dive. We've got some really fascinating research to get into today, all about music and how it can transform the way kids learn.
Yeah, you know what's really cool is that music is not just about making class more fun.
Right.
It actually taps into how the brain learns,
Hmm.
and it can boost those cognitive skills across the board.
So we're talking about way more than just singing like the wheels on the bus.
Exactly.
Oh.
We're talking about serious brain power.
Hmm.
When we listen to music or even create music,
Right.
multiple areas of the brain light up like fireworks.
Oh, wow.
The auditory cortex is processing the sounds, of course. Then you've got the motor cortex getting involved for dancing or playing an instrument.
Yay.
And then there's the hippocampus, which is so important for memory,
Mm-hmm.
and it starts forming all these connections.
Wow. You know what it makes me think of? It makes me think about how I can remember jingles from when I was a kid so easily.
Exactly.
I mean, those melodies are like burned into my brain.
Yes, music strengthens memory pathways, which makes it easier for kids to remember information.
Oh, wow.
But it goes beyond just memorizing things.
Yeah.
Music also gets the brain ready for learning by improving focus and attention
Mm-hmm.
and even emotional regulation. These are all so essential for a successful learning experience.
So music isn't just one subject. It sounds like it's a tool to enhance like the entire learning process.
Exactly. It nurtures the whole child, cognitive, social, emotional, and physical.
Yeah.
And this leads us to how music can be woven into particular subjects,
Uh-huh.
starting with language arts, where it can have a big impact on literacy.
You know, I've always thought that music and language were connected somehow, but I could never really explain how.
Of course.
Yeah.
So think about how music helps kids develop phonemic awareness.
Okay.
That's the ability to hear and manipulate the sounds and words.
Right.
Rhythm and rhyme are such important parts of music.
Yeah.
They provide this natural framework for understanding those sounds.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. The rhythm helps to break down words into smaller pieces,
Yes.
which makes them easier to process.
Exactly.
And then rhyme links those similar sounds together, which helps with memorization.
You got it. Don't forget about the melody.
Yeah.
A catchy tune can make even difficult vocabulary words stick in a child's mind.
Hmm.
It's like a fun trick that makes learning engaging.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember learning the alphabet through a song.
Of course.
It wasn't just about memorizing the letters, but it was about experiencing them through the rhythm and melody.
Exactly.
What about math, though? I have to admit that connection isn't as clear to me.
It's a hidden connection that we often miss.
Okay.
But underneath, music and math actually share this common language
Hmm.
of patterns, sequences, and ratios.
Oh, I never thought about it like that.
It's fascinating.
But yeah, I can see how, like, clapping to a beat is basically practicing rhythmic patterns,
Yes,
which is totally a math concept.
absolutely. And it goes beyond simple rhythms.
Mm.
Even complex musical forms, like sonatas,
Hmm.
they're built on these mathematical principles.
Mm.
Repetition, variation, proportion, and symmetry.
So music isn't just about, like, counting beats, but it's about understanding the structure and order
Yes.
that governs both music and math.
Exactly.
It's like this secret code waiting to be cracked.
That's a great way to put it. Now, think about fractions.
Okay.
Musical notes have different lengths.
Mm.
Whole notes, half notes, quarter notes,
Yeah.
which naturally brings in the idea of dividing a whole into equal parts.
Okay.
Even time signatures like 4/4 or 3/4.
Right.
They're basically fractions that tell us the rhythm of a piece.
Wow, I never realized how much math is in music. I'm starting to see how exploring music can bring those abstract math concepts to life.
Exactly. And that leads us to science,
Yeah.
where music can be this awesome tool for sparking curiosity and exploration.
Hmm.
Think about sound and vibration.
Right.
They're fundamental science concepts that come to life through music.
I see what you mean, like experimenting with instruments, like plucking a guitar string or hitting a drum or blowing into a flute.
Yes.
That's a hands-on way to learn about sound waves and how they travel.
Exactly. Imagine kids experimenting with different sized drums
Yeah.
or filling glasses with different amounts of water to make a water xylophone.
Oh, that's cool.
These simple activities show the science behind pitch frequency and resonance.
And I love that idea from the research about a listening walk.
Oh, yes.
It encourages kids to become scientists in their own environment
Yes.
by tuning into the sounds around them and classifying the different sounds they hear.
It's simple, but so powerful. It fosters scientific observation and questioning.
And music can even connect kids to nature and
Absolutely.
spark an interest in environmental science.
Totally.
Imagine singing songs about different ecosystems, animal sounds, or the water cycle.
Yeah,
It's like weaving science into the music, making learning memorable and engaging.
exactly.
Speaking of weaving, music seems like a natural fit for social studies,
Oh, absolutely.
especially when it comes to cultural heritage and diversity.
Music is this universal language that goes beyond borders.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so powerful for teaching kids about different cultures and traditions.
Yeah.
Imagine a classroom filled with the sounds of traditional music from all over the world.
Right.
African drumming,
Mm-hmm.
Indian sitar music, Japanese taiko drumming, Irish fiddle tunes.
What a great way to introduce kids to all the different ways people express themselves.
Exactly.
It's like taking a musical trip around the world,
I love that.
expanding their horizons and helping them understand what it means to be a global citizen.
It's about opening their ears to new sounds and rhythms and instruments,
Yeah.
and helping them understand that music reflects history, geography, and cultural identity.
So we've seen how music can fit into language arts, math, science, and social studies.
It's amazing.
It's like a whole symphony of learning experiences.
I love it.
But how do we actually put this into practice? How do we create a musical learning environment that makes these connections happen?
That's a great question, and one that we'll dig into more in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
But for now, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
Imagine a classroom where music isn't just an activity,
Yeah.
but it's actually a key part of learning.
That's a really interesting thought.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. I can't wait to hear more in the next part of the deep dive. Yeah, that is an exciting thought. Imagining a classroom where music is woven into the fabric of learning.
It is.
But how can we, like, as teachers and parents, actually create that kind of musical learning environment? Where do we even start?
Well, the good news is that you don't need to completely change the curriculum
Okay, good.
or, have a degree in music education.
That makes me feel better. I was starting to get a little overwhelmed.
Yeah, it can be as simple as having a music corner
Right.
stocked with all kinds of instruments like drums, shakers, xylophones,
Mm-hmm.
even homemade instruments made from stuff you'd normally recycle. The key is to just make music accessible to kids so they can explore it at their own pace.
I love that. It's about creating a space where kids feel free to experiment and make noise and discover the joy of music.
Exactly.
You know, it reminds me of that research we talked
Yeah.
about the importance of play in early childhood development.
Oh, absolutely.
Music can be a form of play, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's a way for kids to learn through exploration and discovery.
It is. And you know what else you can do? You can add music into daily routines,
Okay.
like a simple greeting song when they arrive,
Right.
or a cleanup song to make tidying up more fun.
Yeah.
Even calming music during transitions can make a big difference
It really can.
for creating a positive and predictable learning environment.
Yeah. Those little musical touches help to set the tone for the day,
They do.
and they really help kids manage their emotions.
Exactly.
Especially during those times that could be chaotic.
Yes. And remember, you don't have to be a musical expert yourself.
Oh, okay, good.
You don't need to be like a concert pianist
Right.
to bring music into the classroom or the home.
So even if I can't carry a tune,
Exactly.
I can still create that musical environment for my kids.
Yes. Your enthusiasm and willingness to participate are more important than your musical abilities.
Okay.
Sing along with the kids, even if you're a little off-key.
Right.
Dance to the music, clap your hands, tap your feet.
Okay.
Just show them that music is something to enjoy, not be afraid of.
That is so reassuring. I was starting to think I needed to take some piano lessons.
Uh-huh. No need for that.
Okay, good.
See?
But it sounds like it's more about just making music part of the culture,
It is.
a space where everyone feels comfortable expressing themselves through music.
Yes. And when we're talking about expression, it's important to make sure all kids feel comfortable
Right.
taking part in music,
Mm-hmm.
no matter their abilities or experience.
That's so important. Music should be for everyone no matter what.
It should.
But how can we make sure all kids feel included and ready to participate?
One way is to offer different kinds of musical activity that work for different learning styles.
Mm-hmm.
Some kids might love to sing,
Right.
while others might prefer to play instruments or move to the music.
Yeah.
Give them choices so they can express themselves in ways that feel good for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's about recognizing that there's no one right way to teach music.
Exactly.
We need to create this diverse musical world where every child can find their own rhythm.
I like that, finding their own rhythm.
Yeah,
And remember, participation doesn't always mean singing or playing an instrument.
right.
It could be clapping to a beat
Okay.
or moving to the music
Uh-huh.
or even just listening closely.
I love that. It's about meeting kids where they are and giving them chances to connect with music in a real way.
It is. And speaking of making connections,
Yeah.
another important tip is to help kids see the links between the music and what they're learning.
Okay.
Explain how the rhythm in a song connects to patterns in math,
Right.
or how the words tell a story like in language arts.
Yeah.
Don't keep those connections hidden. Bring them out in the open.
I like that. Help kids see that music isn't just a separate subject.
Agree.
It's part of everything they're learning.
It is.
It's like a secret code that helps them understand other things.
I love that analogy. And let's not forget about technology.
Oh, yeah.
We have so many amazing tools these days.
We do.
So don't be afraid to use technology to make learning music even better.
Technology can open up so many possibilities. I'm thinking of music apps that let kids create their own melodies.
Yes.
Or websites that explore different instruments and types of music.
Hmm.
Even virtual field trips to concerts and music festivals around the world.
You got it. Technology can make music more accessible and engaging,
Yeah.
and it can even be more personal for each learner.
Right.
And it creates chances for kids to work together and be creative.
Yeah.
Imagine kids writing music together, using a computer program,
Right.
or making a music video to share with their class.
The possibilities really are endless.
They are.
But even with all these tools and resources, we have to remember that technology shouldn't replace hands-on learning.
You're right.
That's so important for little kids.
It is. The goal is to have a balance
Right.
that combines the joy of making music with real instruments
Uh-huh.
with all the exciting things technology can do.
So we've talked about creating a music area, adding music into daily routines, embracing technology, and
Yeah.
making sure all kids feel included.
Hmm.
But what about the music itself?
That's a great question.
How do we pick music that's right for young children and that they'll enjoy?
Well, the music we choose should have lots of melody, rhythm, and language.
Okay.
It should expose them to different types of music and cultures,
Right?
and it should spark their imaginations and creativity.
Mm.
And of course, it should be fun.
Fun is so important,
It is.
especially for little kids.
Exactly. Fun should be at the heart of learning.
Absolutely. So, are there any particular types of music or artists that you recommend for early childhood music education?
Well, it's good to expose kids to a wide range of music,
Okay.
but there are some types that are particularly good for their development.
Like what?
Well, folk music is great.
Uh-huh.
It's full of stories and cultural traditions.
Yeah.
Classical music introduces kids to complex melodies and harmonies,
Right.
and world music broadens their horizons and helps them feel like global citizens.
Those are all great choices. What about today's music? Is there a place for pop music or kids songs in the classroom or home?
Of course, pop music can be catchy and fun,
Yeah.
and a lot of kids' songs are written to teach basic things like numbers, letters, and colors.
Right.
The key is to choose music that has appropriate words, and that's musically interesting.
So it's not about keeping kids away from certain types of music, but about creating a diverse and exciting musical experience
Yes.
that helps them grow and develop a love for music.
Exactly. And, music is also a powerful way to connect with children emotionally.
Yeah.
It can make them feel happy, calm, excited, or full of wonder. Pay attention to how kids react to different kinds of music,
Okay.
and use music to create a positive and supportive environment for learning.
That's such a good point. Music can help us understand kids' emotions
It can.
and create a place where they feel safe to express themselves.
Exactly.
It's like a universal language that speaks to both the heart and the mind.
Beautifully said. And when we use that power in the classroom or at home, we open up a world of learning for our kids.
It's about creating fun, engaging, and meaningful learning experiences that will stay with kids even after the music is over.
Yes. And now for the last part of our deep dive.
Okay.
Let's look at some real examples of how music has been used in early childhood classrooms to make this learning come alive.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how all of this actually plays out in real classrooms.
Right.
Do you have any examples of how teachers have used music to help kids learn different subjects?
I do. The research you sent had some great case studies.
Okay.
One that I thought was interesting was about a first-grade teacher who was having trouble getting her students interested in math, especially fractions.
Yeah.
They just couldn't grasp the concept.
Yeah. Fractions can be tough even for grown-ups. So how did she use music to make fractions easier for her students?
She turned her classroom into a musical bakery.
What?
Yeah, she used musical notes as ingredients and had her students bake different kinds of musical pies,
That's so...
representing whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, and so on.
I love that.
They clapped out rhythms, made up their own musical recipes,
Wow.
and even performed their fraction-themed songs for the class.
That's brilliant. It's playful and creative,
Right.
and it connects to something kids know about.
Exactly.
Did the students like this musical way of learning about fractions?
Oh, they loved it. They had so much fun.
Good.
And they actually got much better at understanding fractions.
Wow.
They could actually see and hear how the different note values were related.
Right.
And they could use those ideas in a really creative way.
That's a perfect example of how music can make those abstract ideas more concrete and easier to understand.
It is.
It's not just about memorizing stuff, but experiencing it in a whole new way.
Exactly.
Does the research have any other examples of how music has been used successfully?
Yes. There's another great case study about a preschool classroom
Okay.
where the teacher used music to teach science concepts,
Cool.
specifically the properties of sound.
Oh, wow.
She created a sound laboratory
Oh, that's awesome.
full of instruments and different things like drums, bells, shakers, rubber bands, cardboard boxes,
Yeah.
and she let her students be sound scientists.
I can only imagine what that classroom sounded like. What kind of experiments did they do in their sound laboratory?
They experimented with different ways to make sounds,
Okay.
like hitting things, plucking things, shaking things, blowing into things.
Right.
And they saw how the sounds changed when they used different objects.
Cool.
They even made a sound map of their classroom where they identified and categorized all the different sounds they heard.
That's amazing. What a great way to get little kids excited about science.
Right.
It's hands-on, it's fun, and it makes them curious about the world around them.
Exactly.
Did the teacher notice any changes in how well her students understood sound after doing those experiments?
She did. The kids started using scientific words to describe what they were hearing.
That's great.
And they were showing a deeper understanding of things like vibration pitch and volume. They even started to connect the sounds they made in the classroom to the sounds they heard every day.
These case studies are so inspiring. They prove that using music in the classroom really works.
They do.
It can help kids of all ages learn better in every subject.
And the best part is it doesn't require special training or fancy equipment.
Yeah, that's true.
It's about using the power of music we all have inside us
Right.
to create fun, engaging, and meaningful learning experiences for our kids.
I think that's a perfect way to wrap up our deep dive today.
It is.
This has been eye-opening.
Well, I'm glad.
It's shown me the amazing potential of music in education,
Yeah.
and it's even made me want to make more music myself.
That's great to hear. And remember, this is just the beginning. There's a whole world of musical possibilities out there waiting to be discovered.
Right.
Encourage the kids in your life to sing, dance, play, listen, create, and connect through music.
Yes, and to all our listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this musical adventure.
Yes, thank you.
We hope you've been inspired to bring a little more music into your life and into the lives of the children you care about.
Remember, music is a gift that keeps on giving.
Yes, it is.
So turn up the volume, let the rhythm move you, and keep those learning melodies flowing.